Welcome to This Week in Property Management. I'm your host, Jeremy Pound from RentScale. Well, it is debate day, and not the kind of debate that you're probably thinking about. This isn't a presidential debate, but I might as well make it a presidential debate because we have royalty of the presidential style in our midst today. I'm so excited to welcome Marc Cunningham here today to share his ideas and debate me on how a property management company can best grow and attract new owners. But while we're waiting for our live listeners to join, I just want to share a recent highlight from an episode that we did recently.
One of the things that our community has really been experiencing is a decrease in overall lead volume. This is very common in election years. We see this happen. It just creates a lot of different uncertainty, but also we're seeing some shifts in the real estate market. Maybe more back to normal, but still it's a shift from what we've been used to since COVID came. When lead volume is down, a number of conversations are down, we've got to go out there and put more into the top of our funnel. Calling for rent by owner, finding investors on bigger pockets, lots of different methods that we're using. The other thing people are very focused on is real estate agent referrals. We've been finding some really unique ways of going out there and talking to agents to help them build their portfolios with investors. If we help them, they in turn help us. We're hoping that some of these things are going to mean a little bit of a turnaround for July, August, and September.
So be sure that you're subscribed to us on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter, or X as they call it now, so that you can watch these industry episodes live and be the first to hear what's new and trending. Now, I want to share some quick notes before we get into our episode. Reese from our coaching team shared a great article this week based on Zillow's data. Now, this is mostly focused on large multifamily properties, but your local market is your local market, and all inventory is going to affect that. So what we found is that 1/3 of property managers are offering concessions as the rental market cools. And again, all of this data that you're looking at is for multifamily, but I'm going to ask our producer, George, to drop the link in here so that you guys can see that. And that table is amazing. It's showing the number of concessions that people are making. And all real estate is local, as we all know. So I'm a Florida guy, as you guys know, and I'm here and I'm looking at Tampa, where Reese is, versus Miami, which is closer to me. And I think something like 47% of all rentals on the market in Tampa were offering concessions, whereas something closer to 17% of all rentals in Miami were making concessions to rent. So this is a great table. I want you guys to look at it. If you're talking to your owners, we want you to be the trusted advisor. We want you to have the best information. You guys know your market better than anybody else, but sometimes you need that data just to show them that what you're telling them is actually what they need to listen to. And as you guys know, just that third-party recommendation or that third-party data might be the thing that you need to make your case. And so I thought this table was amazing. It was from Zillow, but this A to Z, real estate blog really broke it down in such a great way. So I wanted you guys to be looking at that. So the share of rental listing on Zillow's offering concession, that can mean a sweetener such as free weeks of rent, or it might mean free parking. Again, this is more multifamily. That's probably not in our sphere. Offered as an incentive of rent climbed to over 33% nationally. Now, that's up slightly from 33% last month and 25% a year earlier, but it's still happening. And so you need to know, as you guys are marketing the properties, you're talking to owners, that this is some of the things that you're going to experience in the marketplace when you're talking to tenants. And we want you to be pre-preparing your owners that they might be asked about this. So I want you guys to always be looking at what's happening in your market. And I think that table is an amazing thing that you can not only use to train your property managers, your leasing agents, but you can also use in your marketing with your BDMs. So also, to build on my recent rants in previous episodes about the hidden bomb in real estate investing, as the Wall Street Journal called it, which is home insurance, we are continuing to see concerns around this. So Resi Club, one of my favorite newsletters, shared a recent survey about how concerned potential homeowners are about the rising cost of insurance. Florida and California, not surprisingly, are at the absolute peak. So you can see in Southern California, over almost 70% of people are concerned about the cost of home insurance. When I look at Florida, around 55, over half of people are somewhat concerned. I know that I backed out of a real estate investment here in Florida recently because of this, because I just couldn't get my head wrapped around the cost of home insurance. And I know that Marc, our guest, actually talked about this in a recent newsletter that he sent out, which I thought was great. And I will tell you just personally, in Florida, my home insurance rates have tripled in the last 5 years. It is absolutely throwing off everything about our pro formas and our cash flow. I still think that this is something that we should be thinking about and educating our clients on. We should be out and ahead of this. And I know that Marc agrees with that. And I saw him talk about that recently. So I know I'm not the only person thinking about this. So I want you guys to keep your ear to the ground and know what's happening with insurance rates in your market, because this is something that our clients are looking for us to be an expert on. So transitioning into why you guys are here, I'm excited about two things today. I'm excited about our guest debate and to share our August business development scoreboard with you, which is, I know, one of the reasons that you guys tune in. So without further ado, let's send it to Jen and let's hear how our community did last month.
Hi everyone, glad to be back with you on another Scale Club scoreboard update, this time for the month of August 2024. Now, if you'll remember, July was down a little bit, and in anticipation and forecasting of some higher numbers, a lot of people fell short of their goal and were really surprised by how slow sales into property management actually was. We talked a lot about market trends and different factors that are affecting that, average days on market, and so many different things. But I'm happy to report that for the month of August, everything is green. So probably most exciting thing that we talked about over the month of August was how to build really good habits and continue to produce activities that consistently happen again and again and again. So kind of a back to the basics month, and it really seemed to be reflected in this month's numbers. We've got some BDMs that have some pretty high door counts, and we're incredibly impressed because we've got 4 newcomers. So not only new BDMs, but fresh blood to this scorecard, starting to challenge some of our veterans. So as much as I love to see all of our vets on this board, I also love to see the competition that some of these amazing business development managers are bringing. We are really putting the right fit people and people that are top performers into this role, and it's showing here on the Scale Club scoreboard. So without further ado, let me show you the numbers. First, we have Modesto, California coming in at 54 doors this month. She is a second-time leader on the board, so we're super happy to see that again. Denver, Colorado at 46. Has been on the leaderboard once before, but we're excited to welcome him back. Columbus, Ohio, one of our vets, 23 doors. Congratulations to him. We've got Sacramento, California at 23. This is a BDM that came into club just a couple months ago. So already at the top of our leaderboard, and can't wait to see what she will do. And then Lancaster, PA, a new business development manager who has only been in for a couple of weeks, 16 doors. We are incredibly impressed with his results so far. Total number of doors for the month of August was up 412 doors from about 396 last month. We are 69% to goal this month across our community and heading into the forecasting season for Q4. So if you are part of our community, be sure to look out for that invite from your Scale Club coach. This forecasting is incredibly important so that we know what goals we're setting and we know what accountability we're helping people achieve. Average number of doors added in August was 9. That's across our entire community, up about 8%. And in our top 50%, we are at 12 doors, which was equal to the door count, average door count for those top performers last month. Lead volume was up, so glad to see that. We know that the sales cycle is about 30 to 45 days in sales for property management. And so we are hoping that this trend of green arrows just continues into October. We're hoping it continues into November before we expect a little bit of a slowdown in December. We are so excited for some of the things coming up in our community that Jeremy is going to share with you a little bit later in this show. But I did want to make an offer for everyone out there. If you're wondering if your BDM is the right fit and can be a top performer, we are happy to do a free DNA analysis on that person. Just reach out to me at jennifer@rentscale.com. We'll schedule a quick meeting with that individual and we'll have them do a personality assessment. And we will let you know where we should be training them up. Not we at RentScale, but even you can train them yourselves. We'll let you know what areas you need to focus on and what is going to help elevate them to that next level. So if you want to take me up on that, that's jennifer@rentscale.com. And I know we've got some exciting stuff coming up in the show. So back to you, Jeremy.
Okay, 56 of the 36 doors. Marc's already got to be sweating. I don't know if he's ready to manage that kind of expectations, but that's amazing. Great job with the community. Great scoreboard, Jen. That is amazing. I'm really excited to bring on our guests. And I want to remind you guys, the reason we go live is so you guys can participate. So if you're live, no matter where you're at, we can see you guys can ask the questions. We want to make this interactive, which is what makes this really exciting, which is why Marc took time out of his day to film this at exactly this time, as well as Jen, and not just doing it anytime. So we love to hear from you guys and let us know what your questions are. Please participate. I will be watching the chat and I'll be including you guys. So going to bring on the guests, but first, just a quick word from our sponsor, and then we're going to get right into the main segment.
Hi there. Did you know that RentScale hosts one of the largest communities of property management sales professionals in North America? Well, my name is Reese Register, and I'm actually a previous BDM and currently a scale coach here at RentScale. We provide over 20 hours monthly of teaching and training and accountability to make sure that our BDMs are supercharging their sales business through inbound, outbound, and allbound. So if you're interested in learning more about supercharging your business, go over to rentscale.com. We'll be glad to schedule a consult and see how we can help you transform your business today.
Welcome, guys. This is the main event. This is what we've been looking for. I feel like we should do a national anthem or a pledge of allegiance or something, but we're just going to jump right into it. I'm so excited to introduce Marc. Seeing all the live attendees and all the chats, which are very exciting. By the way, shout out to a good friend, Todd O, who everybody knows in the industry. I texted him this morning, said, hey, happy birthday. Hope you're having a great day. And he said, yeah, highlight of my birthday is going to be watching you and Marc on the debate later, which I thought was fantastic. So Marc, thank you for being here. People have been wanting to see this. I want to introduce Marc, owner and president of Grace Property Management and Real Estate. Also, we've got Jen here, our COO, as you guys know, who just did the scoreboard. So Marc, I got a drop on you. I was a little nervous about this, and I said, hey, I just don't really know if I've got what it takes to debate Marc. So I invited Jen on, and I said, hey, I should be the moderator, and I should let you really debate the brain power at RentScale, which everybody knows. You know, I am just the pretty face, you know, the athletic body, the, you know, comedian, the, you know, just the charismatic person that everybody loves. But everybody really knows that Jen runs everything here. And so I actually want to be the moderator today. I hope you're a good sport about this. I upped your competition and I brought Jen on. So Marc, I want you to give yourself a little intro. Tell us a little bit about your company, your size, how you've grown, and what your role has been at Grace Property Management.
Well, thank you, Jeremy, for having me on. I appreciate that you're already playing the rope-a-dope ploy here before we've even gotten started. So that well done, well played. Thank you for having me on. And yes, you and I have known each other for quite some time, so I think this will be fun. That way, I'm in Denver, Colorado. That's where our property management company is. My dad actually started our company way back in 1978. So I literally grew up in the real estate and property management and business world. I spent many summers as I was a kid working for him, mowing lawns and painting properties. And I really have done every job within the PM business, which I think is great today from where I'm at, because it gives me a kind of a unique view into I know what it is to pull weeds. I know what it is to paint houses. I know what it is to collect rents. I know what it is to go on the new owner appointments, which is what we're talking about here, and bringing on those owners and doing the marketing and doing the accounting. So I've had my hand in each of those pieces that way. Today, I own the company along with my dad and my brother. We manage residential and commercial both. Our residential door count's about 1,100 doors. That's all 98% of it single family. We don't do multifamily. We don't do HOA. We do commercial as well, but that's very separate that way. And we're very intentional about smart growth. We're very relationship based, and I think we'll kind of talk about that in how we talk to new owner clients, and do we want to bring owner clients on that way. So we grow at a pretty good clip. Just to give you kind of a sense that way, we'll finish this year by probably bringing on about 200 doors, which is about what we brought on last year as well. So that's kind of the number that we'll hit that way. And our property managers are our BDMs, just to kind of get a little bit of the groundwork here. So I don't believe that you can just not have a BDM. You got to have somebody out there doing that stuff. But our PMs don't go out and shake the bushes. They don't make the phone ring. I make the phone ring. We do the marketing. The company takes care of the marketing. As those leads come in, we hand those leads off to our property managers. Our property managers are the ones that follow up with those, play the role of BDM, bring them into our portfolio that way. So that's kind of how we're structured a little bit that way.
That's great. Marc, I just want to share a quick story. When Jordan Muela from Lead Simple, obviously he brought me in this industry, and he said, hey, I run a CRM and nobody really knows how to sell in this industry. And I said, nobody really? He's like, no, I got some great clients, like some people that really know what they're doing. And he said, there's a couple people. And the one that stood out to me is he said, oh, there's this guy, Marc Cunningham, and he just really knows what he's doing. And he's like teaching other people how to do it. But I don't think he has enough time to teach everybody how to sell really well. And so I need your help. And so you came up in the original discussion of the origin of RentScale, and I wanted to tell you that. And we've gotten to know each other over time, and you've invited me different events, and we've done different things. My most embarrassing is when I couldn't get through an entire lunch meeting at the Denver NARPM because of the altitude, and you took totally part shots at me. But yeah, Marc and I have just a great history, and it's just awesome. And so thank you so much for being here. Just nothing but respect for you. Before we tear you apart, I wanted to build you up. Is that okay?
Okay, good. See, man, you are good. Jen, this guy is sharp. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's just got me in the corner already.
I know, Marc. I know.
No, but in all seriousness, just wanted to say, game sees game. Nothing but respect. Always been a big fan of what you've done. You give the way we give. And that's why I'm so happy that you're here. And I knew you'd say yes. And I know Jen convinced you to do this. But I just want to say, it's amazing. I'm watching what you do. Nobody's ever come to us out of Marc's tutelage and not been like, that guy just really takes care of us. So I did want to say that and really appreciate you. So I've got Jen here who, is going to debate Marc, because clearly I am not capable of doing that because I have a man crush on Marc. Jen does not. She is a vicious shark, and she could care less about any other person. So Jen, obviously just kind of walk through your role at RentScale and who you help.
Yeah, so my role here at RentScale is the COO. I really just kind of run all the day-to-day in and out of the business. But I also have the pleasure of working with our clients directly occasionally. I have been a business development manager in the role, not a property manager, but a business development manager, boots on the ground here in Colorado. Competed with Marc a little bit, ran into him a few times. But I have done that now. Well, I did that in my past, and now I've been at RentScale for about 3 years. Really been in real estate, whether it's flipping, building, buying, selling, property management for about 8. So just a little bit about my background. Now here at RentScale, I love helping our clients just grow their property management companies. And that's everything that my entire day is centered around, is helping all of the wonderful people that I get to see at all these conferences make their businesses bigger and better, which in turn makes ours bigger and better. So love it.
Well, Jen, since this is all you do, let's kick us off. Why don't you share your philosophy on how you think property management companies should grow and who should deal with the potential owners who want to hire our clients?
So I love what Marc says. However, we definitely have a differing opinion here. I think that the people that should grow business within property management companies should be a dedicated professional who is only focused on growing the business, who goes out there and does pound the pavement and talks to the realtors and goes to different events. But really, they're the ones that's also going out and they're walking the properties. They're doing that initial on-site, or for investors that are out of state, doing that virtual consultation. They're nurturing them, and that's probably the biggest difference, I think, in Marc's idea and my idea and how we run this, is the nurture aspect. And then, they're closing the business and passing them on to an owner onboarder who handles the operations, because let's be real, salespeople are not detail oriented, and we don't want them sticking their fingers in operations.
All right, perfect.
Okay, I'm gonna throw you off already. Okay,
Go for
it.
I'm already gonna throw it off.
Let's go, Marc.
And by the way, fun fact: Jen and I live both in Loveland, Colorado. We're like 20 minutes away. Is where we live. You're home today, Jen. I can look out my window and probably wave, and she can see me out there. Okay, Jen, how do you measure this? Let's pretend I want to hire you guys to train my PMs in the BDM role. My question to you is this: how do you measure the success of a BDM? Yes, they're killing it. They're a failure. How do you measure success for them?
I love that, Marc. Great question. So success for BDM is measured on how well they attract different clients, how well they convert those clients that they attract. So that's on nurture, right? And then how well they multiply them and put them back into the funnel to get more business. So specifically in our environment, we measure number of inbound leads that you took and handled, number of outbound leads that you generated, number of on-site consults that you completed, number of doors or deals signed, depending on what your metric is. And then we just pay attention to all of the different activities as well. So within outbound prospecting, we sit down and we go, okay, here was the activity that you're supposed to have done, because outbound prospecting is all about consistency. Did you do that, and what were the results? So that's a great question, and I'll throw it right back at you. When you talk to your you got your property managers and they're handling all of the biz dev, if you will, how are you measuring their success?
I'll answer answer that question with a story. So Sean, one of our PMs, he came on about a year ago. He asked me that question. He's been with us for a little while. He's doing training. He said, Marc, if I get 10 leads, okay, you guys give me 10 owner client leads. What percentage of those leads do you expect me to close down? You'll make it all of them? Like, how many should I get of the 10 you give me? And I said, Sean, great question. I don't know, Sean, but I will tell you this. If you close 100% of them down, I will fire you. Because I know, Sean, that not every good owner client lead is a good owner client. Just like with tenants, and I look at it through the same lens I look at through tenants. If 10 tenants apply to rent a property, I don't know how many of them are going to be qualified, but I can tell you 100% of them are not going to be qualified. I don't know which ones. I got to figure that out, and we can do that pretty easily on the tenant side, but it's the same mentality for us on the owner side. If 10 leads come through, you start off with qualifying them. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's to give you throw the ball back at you, or the body blow back. I don't know what sports analogy we're utilizing here, but to throw it back at you, how do you train your BDMs, or how would you train my BDMs to determine whether or not that lead is a good fit?
Yeah, Marc, I think we have a lot of the same. We're actually aligned here. I know that's not what the people came here to see. They came to see a punching match, but you and I are very aligned here. We are very dedicated on making sure we're bringing in more clients you love. When you see us at a conference, that's literally what our booth says. It's what we promote. So how are we doing that? Well, we start out in all of our engagements with all of our clients by sitting down, identifying your ideal client profile, your differentiation, and then we actually formulate a worksheet, if you will, or a training guide, so that when your business development manager comes in, we go, hey, this is who our ideal client is. This is who we're looking for. This is who we're not looking for. here's how you should be qualifying these folks. And then in their foundational trusted advisor training, those people are actually going through and we're making sure that that qualification is happening. Because I know, Mark, as a salesperson myself, do I want to sign everything? Absolutely. Yes, I want to sign everything. I want to win all of the deals and close all the doors. However, I also know, being on the operation side of things, that creates a nightmare. I will say, when I was a business development manager, I had this client. They had 3 homes in Erie, Colorado, and I was right on the cusp of my monthly, quota that I was supposed to achieve. And I knew these people were terrible fit clients from the very beginning. They asked us to mail out their checks. They said they would never log on to the portal. They needed us to call anytime they needed something, but I needed to sell that deal, Mark. So I call in and I'm like, hey, I got these people. They have 3 properties. Here's the challenge. I really want to sign them up. My ops guy goes, all right, I'm going to help you out. I want you to sign these deals. Let's go. Let's do it. They failed 2 months later because we can't do any of that. So I tell this story all the time to all my BDMs, and I didn't end up getting a commission for those 3 because I brought on the wrong fit clients. So it's all about how you handle that on the back end.
Yeah, and I get that. I'm just like you. I'm a sales guy by nature. One of my first jobs, I think I was in like 5th grade. And remember how, like, when we were in school, Jeremy, you're older, like, well, you're not as old. Remember they'd have the little pieces of paper, you'd like pull the phone number off the slip, they'd be cut, be like, hey, call here for whatever. And it was like, call here and you can sell stuff door to door. And it was a candy sale. So these guys came by on Saturday mornings and they'd pick me up in their orange van. They looked like they were homeless people. And they had about 10 of us little 5th graders in there. And they would give us a giant duffel bag full of candy. And they'd drive us around Denver. They'd drop us off in a neighborhood. We'd literally go door to door selling this candy all day. They'd come pick us up at the end of the day, and then they'd give us a split. And it was, yeah, terrible. As scary as it sounds, it was worse. But like, I learned, I know how to sell, right? I learned, and I remember the guy teaching me, he's like, Mark, you put your foot in the door, and then you open the duffel bag right there, and then they'll buy just to get you out of there. And so I get how to sell. I know how to sell. The problem I think that I still haven't overcome in my mind, and maybe it's just because I'm not there, is telling a salesperson, hey, by the way, and you just kind of said this, Jen, by the way, don't sell to those kind of people. Like, that doesn't compute. It's not like, oh, just train me well enough to not sell to that kind of person. It's like saying, Mark, go sell candy to everybody. But if the person looks like this, or if they say this, or if they do that, don't sell them candy. I'm like, do you want me to sell the candy or don't you want to sell it? Like, I don't even get it. I don't get it. So that idea of inserting a filter into the brain of a true salesperson, I think it's like this. And you can kind of like mash it and mix it, and well, maybe it'll work. But what we're always looking for, and this is the reason kind of we land where we are, is I want the best way to do things. So we've just found over time that it's better to interject the PM into that, because the PM is going to have a filter like nobody else. The PM is going to be like, I don't want this guy calling me. I don't want to call this guy and tell him his water heater blew up. Like, he's already angry at me, and I don't know what it is, but like, we're just not getting along. So what we've always landed on is that, and by the way, I'm not saying people shouldn't use BDMs. I think PMs should be trained on how to be a BDM. So like, if I had my magic wand, I wouldn't say, gosh, you guys need to go away. I would say, you guys need to train PMs on how to be the BDM, because it's an essential role there that a lot of PMs don't know how to do. But we found that it works really, really well that way. And then the way I measure success at the end of the day is I think the success of our client acquisition strategy, big picture, is not only what we bring on, but it's what we lose on the back end. It's the whole thing. Because if I go get a BDM and they're killing it and they bring on 8 out of 10 doors, but on an annualized basis, my attrition out the back door is 30% because they just brought on people they shouldn't have brought on, then I would view that as a fail. So that's something we measure very, very specifically, who we're bringing on and how many of those folks are out the back door. So our attrition on an annualized basis is always less than 10%. 8% last year will be just about 10% this year. And that's completely, that's like who we sell, good and bad, both out the back door. So from my philosophy as a business owner, I look at that and say, yeah, our acquisition strategy is working. We're not bringing on the same percentage of leads that most of your BDMs are. I'm sure we're not. I have no doubt of that. But I'm retaining 95% of them on an annualized basis. So I measure success from the business side of things a little bit different, I guess, that way.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Well, I'm going to jump in because I'm supposed to be asking the questions here. Marc, thank you for taking over.
Jeremy, get back in the corner. Okay, Jen and I are doing just fine here.
Yeah,
We'll let you know if you're
great.
needed.
I am also sending you my affiliate link for BetterHelp. Based on your childhood story there, it does sound like you may need some therapy, but I know you're, a very sophisticated individual. But yes, thank you for sharing the childhood trauma of sales, which I really appreciate. No, you made great points. So Marc, you're basically saying that you're really not hurting on the inbound and you're not hurting the conversion. You're really optimizing for the stickiness, the longevity, right? Like that's what I took away from that. It's just like, hey, it's actually pretty expensive and pretty consuming to bring on somebody who is not going to stick around. And we want
pretty risky. I would also add risky into that.
Pretty risky. Yeah. Okay. So Jen, do you want to respond to that specifically?
Well, I would say, Marc, that I agree with you. It's risky to bring on people that aren't going to stick around. And we have different ways of compensating the BDM. As we know that we want them to bring on the right client, there's different ways that we can compensate the BDM that then encourage them to bring on the right clients because they don't get paid when they bring on the wrong ones. So I'd say that you can play that in the compensation structure. But my question then for you is, okay, so I love that you've got PMs who are bringing on your right fit clients and you're measuring, your churn rate, and you think that what you're inputting is a big factor of that. But when I think about what a BDM does, the role in what we teach is so expansive. It's not just converting those doors. And also, as a side note, the way that a PM versus a true BDM would convert a door is very different. There's going to be a very features and benefits versus a very more consultative type approach. But BDMs run 40 to 60 hours a week, depending on how much business they have, right? I also know that your PMs run ragged, like I've seen it, right? And so how do your PMs have enough time to get to new owner calls when they're handling current client calls? Because what I've found is a lot of PMs will default to the people that are currently the clients, and then the new owner calls just kind of come after. So how do you handle that on your end?
Good question. Let me just counter something you said a moment ago. My take on the idea of, hey, we'll set up a comp structure in place for the BDM. So if somebody falls off in month 2 or 3, they don't get paid. If I'm the salesperson and I hear that, here's how I interpret that. Oh, okay. So 20% of the people I bring on, I'm not going to get paid for. I better bring on an extra 20% to offset who I'm going to lose out the back door. Like that's my sale. That really is. So I'd be like, okay, I'm going to have a bigger front door then. I'm going to bring on more people, and because I know I'm going to lose some. So that doesn't hold water for me. That idea of, hey, you're not going to get paid off the back end, because for me, I'm going to go double down then on the front end. That's just how I think. But anyway, I know I'm devious and sneaky. That's why Jeremy had me here. Okay, how do our PMs have time? Our PMs, the way we're structured, number one, they're independent contractors. Number two, they're licensed. They have to be licensed as independent contractors. That way, they have a real estate license here in Colorado, and they're commission based. They're 100% commission based. So if they get a percentage of what they manage. So when the phone rings, if they want a raise that day, answer the phone and go bring on that new owner client lead. So the way we're structured is our PMs get to a point in time where they can't manage anymore. They're like, hey, it's typically about 100 doors. I'm managing 100 doors. Like, I'm done. I don't want any more leads. I can't handle any more leads. To your point, Jen, I'm too busy managing my own clientele. I'm done. Okay, great. No problem. We hire a new PM, and we start them off with a few to 0 doors. And they are spending 95% of their time playing that BDM role that you're talking about. Now we would define that to where they don't do the marketing piece. And I know we're not getting into that, does a BDM market versus do they take inbound, outbound type stuff? For us, it's just inbound. leads for them. But that's what most of their time is spent doing, taking the calls, meeting the prospects, building up their portfolio that way. And we find that they're very aggressive in going after those folks, because that's how they're going to build up their portfolio. And then the other thing that I really like, and you can tell me how you overcome this. The other thing I like about our model that way, if I'm Mark, the property manager person, and I'm talking to Jeremy, okay, and Jennifer, you're the BDM talking to Jeremy. So two competitors here, right? And you're selling them, you're doing the feature benefit, and you're doing the whole thing for your company. And then Jeremy meets with me, and he's, who do I go with? One of the things that I get to say to Jeremy that you don't, Jen, is, hey, Jeremy, if we work together, by the way, I'm your guy, I'm your gal. I'm the only one you ever have to talk with. So you kind of like me here, right? I'm the only one authorized to spend your money. There's no handoff. I am your guy. And that for us has been very, very impactful and powerful, to be like, oh, yeah, Jeremy says, I like Mark. Now he likes Jen too, but he doesn't get Jen, because Jen's selling and Jen's going to hand off to that acquisition, whatever thing. And we can get into the whole transition lumpiness and bumps and unmet expectations. So that's another component that at least in my head, when we've tried this, we've never been able to overcome, or maybe I should say, I think that the superior way is for me to be able to say, I'm your guy, you get me.
Yeah, I totally understand that. On the flip side of that, I get to go in and say, you have me as a contact, but you get to deal with somebody who's specialized in this, that this is all they do all day long. They're not focused on bringing new clients in. They're not focused on doing some of the other work that I do in my role. You get to talk to an expert, which is the argument between, a traditional or departmental style or whatever property management company, right? But that's the other side of that coin, is that I get to go and say, well, no, I am not your rep. I'm always here to support you. You've got my phone number and you can call me anytime you need, but you don't actually want me to manage your property. You want somebody who is dedicated, and this is the only thing that they do. They're not worried about bringing other people on so they can manage your property. That's what their time is dedicated to.
It's pretty good. That's good. Oh, she got me.
All right. So I do love that. Yes. The one thing that I will say, Mark, like you and I have even chuckled about this, is like, there's a great answer for everything. Like, there's a yin and a yang, some people want X, some people want Y. But I do want to ask you, because I know you're not only running Grace, which you're great at, but you're also counseling other property managers. Correct me if I'm wrong. You put out a ton of information, a ton of advice. So for somebody, looking to grow their property management company, what is like the official Marc Cunningham line? Like, what would you say and be like, hey, if you're looking to grow your company, this is how I would recommend that you handle new business development?
Number one, I would say, and now we're kind of flipping the switch here to marketing, right? So sales and marketing, and you talk a lot about that, Jeremy. I love how you do that, because I think we as an industry, we confuse the two. We mash them together and understanding, hey, the way we say it is marketing is making the phone ring. Sales is picking up the phone and converting it, like understanding those two things differently. So what I say to folks that are like, I'm interested in growing, I say first focus on bringing the leads in. And we have found what works for us is education-based marketing. Educate, educate, educate. And it's never been easier to do, because there's so much going on in our industry from a compliance standpoint, from a legislative standpoint, from the stats you guys just talked about. Those are pieces of education that every property manager should be telling their owners about. Insurance costs going up, about most PMs are offering concessions. Like, there's education, and your owner clients want to know that, and prospective owner clients want to know that. So when I can educate our big Denver community that, hey, investors, insurance is going up and rental rates are going down, and this is happening, they find that, and now they find me, now they view me as the expert. And I guess that, to come full circle in our conversation, that's how we try to frame it. I want to frame myself and my business as the experts in the industry. We're more like doctors and lawyers, in my view, versus car salesmen trying to sell something. I'm not here to sell anything. The training we give our PMs on day one, if you guys are my new PMs, and I just hired you both, Jeremy and Jen, the training I give you on day one is called We Don't Sell. That's the name of our training, because we frame the whole thing around the idea of experts and professionals don't sell. Surgeons don't sell. Hey, please let me operate on you. Here's the features and benefits of me doing surgery on you. That's not what they do. they're experts. They educate, they present themselves as professionals. So when someone needs them, who are they going to go to? You go to the professional. I want to set ourselves up that way. So when someone realizes, hey, I need professional property management. Well, of course I'm going to go with Marc and Grace Management, because these guys know what's going on. And so, yeah, I'm going to go with them. So I say to folks, market on education. Don't tell people how great you are. No one cares how great you are. They want to know what's going on. So educate, educate, educate. That makes the phone ring. And then once the phone rings, quite frankly, everything you guys we're talking about is window dressing. Whether they talk to the BDM or the PM, if you bring that lead in and they trust you and they're halfway through the sales funnel process just by trusting you already, then half your job's done.
Marc, I really agree with what you're saying there. And coming off as the trusted advisor, you know, I know that we talk a lot about sales, and it's easy for people to think here at RentScale we're just trying to close doors. But we actually have the very same foundational belief as you, is we're trusted advisors. We're trying to help better people's lives, and if we can't, we tell them where they can go to get that. But we're never trying to sell someone something that they don't need. And we also believe in education-based marketing, and we teach our BDMs how to use that and become a local celebrity and really put themselves out in the marketplace. And I think generating the leads is probably something else that we do very different. So I know Jeremy kind of asked this, but I'm curious, when you think about a brand new property management company, maybe one who has been in the market for, we're talking months, not even years, and they don't have that kind of momentum that you do with making the phone ring and having that education-based marketing that's then making that phone ring that we can take the inbound leads. What do you recommend people do in that phase if you don't have someone boots on the ground out there generating that business early on?
You mentioned this a few minutes ago, Jen. You were talking about agent referrals. Like, get in front of outside agents. That has never been more important, I think, in our industry, in our market than it is right now, because as the sales market continues to slow, who's the first person to know that someone's going to convert their property from a for sale to a for rent? The very first person to know is their sales agent. You know, so if Jeremy's my sales agent and he's been trying to sell my house and he can't sell it because he does a crummy job and he just sits there drinking his coffee and his little t-shirt and sports coat over the top of it every day, and I say, Jeremy, man, you're fired. You haven't sold my house. I'm sorry, but I think I'm going to rent it out. What I want Jeremy to think is, oh, okay, well, bummer, that stinks. But you know who you should call? Let me tell you the best property manager to call. So a new PM should be spending time talking to the top producing sales agents in their market. Tell them, hey, I can be a resource for you. I can give you free rental analysis for your owner clients who want it. Like, get in front of them. Give them CE classes. That's truly a captive audience. Get in front of them, talk to them, take them to coffee, become their referral source. I think that's number one. And number two is just start the video education, because you can do a video education whether it's your first day in the office or whether you've been doing it for as long as I have. The content's still the same. And most of the veterans don't do this. So you have a huge advantage, even if you are new to start, because most of your competition isn't doing it. I mean, I preach this stuff all day long. And people are like, yep, that's a great idea, Marc. I'll get around to it when I have time. And they don't do it. And I'm glad they don't, because that leaves us to capture the stuff that comes in. So that's what I would think people should do, those two things.
Marc, us too. We say the same things there. So you're suggesting that the PM go out and generate that business from the very beginning. Do they have enough time? How do they have the capacity to do this? Because what I'm finding in our world is that business development and doing it the right way is taking up an entire 40 hours worth of work for someone. So how are your PMs doing that on the front end and managing the portfolio as well?
Well, for us, we're in a unique situation because we've scaled big enough to where when our PMs, as I mentioned, our PMs get big, we just go hire another one and they have time. When a company's smaller, I get it. It's harder on that. But I would kind of flip that around, because one of the bigger mistakes I see smaller companies make is they bring everybody on. They get desperate and they need to eat. And the life cycle of a PM business is so predictable. They grow. They get up to about 250 doors, or maybe it's even 350. And then they look up and they're like, oh my gosh, I should not have brought on 80 of these doors. These things are killing me. And then they go backwards, and they get up the courage to fire those owners. And then they go from 550 to 400. And it's this life-changing thing, and it's terrible because they lost them. But now they're like, now I'm going to grow healthy. And what I would say is, like, don't do it in the first place. Grow slower. Yes, you will grow slower if you have a really strong filter. But the biggest, and I mean this sincerely, the biggest mistake I see PM companies make when they're new is bringing on owner clients they shouldn't bring on. Because it's not just a waste of time. It's not just like, they'll take more time. The risk is massive. I do expert witness work in Colorado. So an attorney will hire me to represent a landlord who's being sued by an owner or by a tenant. And one of the things I have to do in that expert witness work is I have to review all of the conversation and the correspondence between tenant, owner, PM, owner, whatever, from day one. Like when the first phone call came in to your BDM, hey, I've got a property, I'm interested. If that call is recorded, I listen to it. I read the email from day one, and I read the next one. And it's awful, by the way. I don't do it anymore because I absolutely despise it. I hate it. But if it's been a 10-year relationship, I have to review 10 years of correspondence. And here's what I've learned. We're now at lawsuit time when I come in. And I always think to myself, how did you not see this coming? This thing has been a slow motion train wreck for 5 years. It's like complaining on the front end, appease them with a free management fee. Complaining because you spent my money, promise I'll never do it again. Complain, frustrate, threaten, complain, frustrate, threaten. And the whole time the PM's like, I don't want to lose them. I don't want to lose them. And now here we are 8 years later, and it's an ugly, ugly lawsuit. Mm-hmm. And so I'd say this to my team. I'm like, guys, when you see the train coming, get off the tracks. That's the terminology we use all the time. And oftentimes you can see the train coming really early if you just pay attention. When those people are complaining and they're mad at you and they're angry at you, rather than trying to appease them as the PM and be like, I don't want to lose them. No, that's the wrong mentality. You need to think, how quickly can I get rid of them? And what can I learn to not even bring them on next time? And so we've gotten pretty good at that. And it does take practice, and it takes a lot of time. But that's, I think, for us, that's how we've been in business for almost 50 years.
I'm seeing great questions come in, Mark and Jen, which is fantastic. I solicited those. So many of you guys have already answered, without a doubt. And just one thing I did not hear answered is, what are your growth goals? I mean, we obviously have clients of different sizes, Mark, and there's no wrong answer. But what are your growth goals? What's like a healthy amount of growth for you at Grace?
So one thing I've learned a long time ago is my team doesn't care about my goals. Any of them. They don't care. Like I can go in and be like, hey guys, we're going to go to 1,500 doors this year, and we're going to do this. And they'll be like, oh, yay. And then they'll walk out and roll their eyes and be like, who cares? I'm going home. So we set our goals very differently. We set our goals where I sit down with my PMs. We've got 15, 16 PMs. We sit down with them and I say to every one of them, how many doors do you want to manage? And Sherry wants to manage 45 doors because she's semi-retired and she's got grandkids and she doesn't want to work a ton. Sean is a young guy. He wants to manage 125 doors because he wants to work a ton and make a ton of money. So I add up all those numbers. And then what I do is I go to our team, which we'll be doing here pretty soon. I say, guys, our goal growth, or our goal door number for this coming up year is, I'm making this up here, I don't know, 1,478 doors. Why? Because you guys told me that's what you want. We're going to grow this thing to 1,478 doors. Now that they can get behind, because it's not Mark coming up with some arbitrary number that Mark got excited about. It's my PMs telling me what they want to manage, and we'll go get it. And so that has been pretty effective for us, and it keeps everybody it keeps me motivated, because now I have a reason to be motivated, not because I wanted 1,500 doors, because my team told me they wanted 1,478. So that's how we do our goals.
And do you think you might feel the same way if you launched in San Antonio next month and you're like, hey, we got to pay for our maintenance costs, we got to pay for our office, like we have 9 doors. Like, would you feel differently if you didn't have the momentum and scale you have now?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You've always got to know where you're at, right? I mean, if someone's got 50 doors, they can't listen to me and be like, okay, I'm going to do exactly that. You got to get your next 50. And this is what I would say to folks wherever when they're smaller. If you've got 7 doors, your only goal is to get 50. That's it. Nothing else matters. Don't worry about systems. Don't worry about processes. Get 50 doors. Until you have 50 doors, you haven't proven that you have a business. So get 50. Now, when you get 50, you're going to need to build a few more infrastructures, but then you know what? Then get 100. Like it's in 50. And the way you get from 50 to 100 is very different from how you get to 1,400 to 1,500. And so you have to learn, and that's where you guys come in, right? You can train a company, hey, you got 50, to get from 50 to 100, you do these things. If someone comes to you with 800, you're probably gonna say to get from 800 to 900, you gotta do these things. It's a little different blueprint to do that, because it's a different mindset that you have to have. So I get it. If you're small, then half of the things I said don't matter because you got to get 50 doors. When we were small, I remember getting in my car, driving to the airport, signing a property management agreement on the hood of my car with a guy before he flew out. I wouldn't do that today. But back, I had to eat. Like, we got to pay the bills. So yeah, you do what you got to do. I get it. I get it. I'm just saying, when you are small that way, still pace yourself and don't be stupid by bringing on people that you know you're going to regret after the fact.
Great. And Jen, small people, not small people, obviously, but small businesses. They're calling us and they're like, hey, what do I do? What do you prioritize?
So small businesses need to be mindful of all of the revenue coming in or not coming in and all of the expenses. And so for any small business owner or PM starting out that doesn't have necessarily the funds or the ability to invest in a business development manager, I'm always telling them, hey, sell as the owner. However, I really think that you have to put the sales first and the growth of the company, and you have to infuse some clients. You don't have to shut down a business because you couldn't figure out how to operate. So everybody talks about systems and processes today, and we believe in systems and processes, but there's no point in having a system and process and operations if you don't have clients that you can serve. So that should be our number one goal as a business owner. And it is so frustrating to me when we speak to all these brand new business owners who say, I got to get my operations in place and then I can worry about sales. And I'm like, tear my hair out now. You have that so backwards, you guys. So whether you hire BDM or whatever you do, you need to focus on bringing in a good client base that you can start out with, and then look at hiring your business development manager. Usually I say somewhere around 50, 60 doors is a great time to invest in that, unless you just have a bunch of capital sitting around and you can hire someone on because you hate sales. I think one of the biggest things I find is most owners themselves, although they have the ability to do sales, don't actually want to do sales and don't necessarily have the personality to be good at sales and at actually growing their company through business development. And I also find that in PMs. So Marc, we actually do train a lot of PMs who do the business development work. Like that is, I'm training 3 of them right now. But my challenge is that they're running around with their hair on fire, trying to put all the PM fires out. And they're really good at what they do there. And they don't have the personality for sales. So if the owner has the personality for sales, I say you get started with that and you try to build your business up a little bit. And then you hire someone who does have the right personality to be in a true business development role.
Yes. And by the way, I was saving this till the end. We are going to hire you guys because I want Jen to come to my office and train my PMs on a lot of this stuff. So, and Jen, I got to double down on something you just said. I agree 1000% with what you said. Don't worry about the processes, the things, figure out how to grow. And then Jen, you let me know when I can hire you to come to my office and train my PMs.
Marc, you made my day. That was my goal at the end of this. I said, all I want out of this is for Marc to be like, I need RentScale to come and train us on how to sell. So
done. You guys converted me.
I was successful.
This is our very secret, expensive sales process, Marc, just so you're seeing it all happen here. But as we wrap up, this is great, guys. Thank you both so much. Like, I love the dialogue. I love the comments, by the way. Like, if you guys get a chance to look at the comments, they're amazing. I would just kind of ask each of you guys, what did you learn today? I'm guessing with the debate, like, we're taking something away. So, Jen, what are we taking away? Marc, is there anything we're taking away from this? I feel like we're bigger people than just trying to be right. What are we going to take away from today? Marc, I'll let you go first.
Oh, the snarky part of me says, I'm going to come hire Jen. Like, Jeremy, you better watch out, man, because I think Jen's gonna be working for me in a few months.
Listen, let me just jump in, Mark. I was in Southern States last week, and everybody wants to hire Jen. I am on
I need to
alert
get in line,
by
don't I? I need
everybody.
to get in line. Yeah, but we
I
live in
am
the same
every-
town. We live in the same town, so I got
That's
that
fair.
going for me.
Fair.
What do I take away from this? What I don't know if I take away from this, but I would just, to encapsulate the whole thing, BDMs / PMs, whoever, they still need to know how to sell. They need to know how to communicate, how to close the deal, whatever terminology you want to use, and you can wrap it in whatever bow you want to wrap in. So to that point, I think what you guys do there is unbelievably valuable and important, regardless of whether you do it the way I do it, whether you hire a true BDM, however you do it. But it comes back to what Jen said. You got to bring clients in. If you can't bring clients into this business, you are a ticking time bomb. And the good news is it has never been easier, because as the sales market slows, as investors die off, and investors are dying off. So we don't want to talk about that, but I'll throw that in there as well. I would encourage people to pivot their marketing away from, hey, investors, we can manage your investment property. There's no such thing as a real estate investor anymore. They don't exist anymore, at least in most markets. So you need to start talking to those accidental landlords now, the people that have the 2.3% interest rate and they're moving out of the area and they want to convert it. That's where the lowest hanging fruit is in most areas. And you guys, RentScale, can teach people, hey, here's how you communicate to them, because you communicate to them differently than you do the investor. So that's the takeaway, I guess, for me.
Appreciate that.
Kind of my own takeaway. But
what do you got, Jen?
So Jeremy, you've overestimated me. I just like winning, but I do have a takeaway for today. My takeaway is that no matter how you choose to develop business in your company, we've clearly said you have to spend time developing business. And if you don't, you're probably going to fail and you won't be in business. But no matter which way you choose, you need to make sure that you've got a good, solid system in place for how that person sells and time dedicated to doing that, and make sure that they understand the responsibilities, what that looks like. So really what I take away is make sure your business development managers or your PMs are trained to bring on the clients that you love. I think that's something that Mark and I really agree on here, is bring on more clients that you love and make sure you're doing that from the start, so that you don't have the churn rates that we see a lot of property management companies having, which means training for either your PM or your salesperson.
Remarkable. Mark, people clearly already know you, but they're excited to learn more about you. How can they follow you? How can they stay in touch with you?
Most of our stuff is through our website, pmbuild.com. That's kind of our property manager training website that we put together. So we've got a bunch of videos and podcasts and some speaking and engagements and live events, and everything's through that.
That's great. And I highly recommend that. I follow
Jen, how do people get a hold of you, Jen? If people want to get a hold of you and hire RentScale to come out, how do they do that, Jen?
Mark, you're killing me. So you can find us on This Week in PM, strategic PM, and you will see me floating around the community as well. I also may have had a different outfit on, and yes, my hair was different, but in the scoreboard, I gave my email away, Jennifer@rentscale.com. So anybody who's curious about either side of this, like, honestly, I have a lot of respect for you, Mark. I have a lot of respect for what you do and what you've built. So if anybody's curious, you can get a hold of me that way. But follow me on This Week in PM or Strategic PM. I'm terrible on social. You can friend me. I might friend you back if I happen to be on there, but good luck.
Mark, Jen, just appreciate you guys. Mark, sorry for throwing you the wrinkle and really upping the A game and sending Jen in, but you know why I did it, because she's just there. She's gonna do
survived.
it.
I'm impressed I survived.
You did a great job. Mark, one of these things I want to say is how grateful I am for how you give to the industry. It's amazing. Just like I feel like we do at RentScale, this is the model we try to do. It's just hey, let's just tell everybody exactly what they should do. Let's give away everything for free. I watch you do that constantly. And you do it in such an articulate, charismatic way. I get a little worried. I wake up sometimes and I'm like, does Mark have better hair than me? Is he more charismatic than me? There's very few people I worry about when I wake up, but you are one of them. And I really appreciate you, and I appreciate you, Jen. I just want to share some of my takeaways as we wrap up. I think it was amazing. That was one of my first takeaways, is that how giving the right people are in the industry. Like, we're not holding back. We're just saying, hey, this is what we're doing. I'm a big believer at RentScale that we should just be sharing what we think can happen and what has actually happened, and we should never confuse the two. Watching Marc, he's always telling you exactly what he's doing. Watching Marc, he is a master of marketing. And even though RentScale is the sales company for property managers, I will be honest with you, if you dial in marketing, great lead gen solves a lot of sales problems. So one of the takeaways from today's debate is that Marc is just far less worried about conversion and about sales because his marketing is so dialed in. I've watched him, I ran a marketing agency before I started RentScale. He is a master at marketing, and he does it through information, just like we're doing today. So I asked him, I said, hey, if you had to, if you didn't have 40 years of experience and all the SEO value, and if you Googled anything in Denver and you didn't find Grace Property Management, how would you start over? And I took it away that he said, I just keep educating. And so, Marc, that was a huge takeaway. You just start exactly where you are now, and you just keep giving information, and you are a mensch, an amazing communicator, the ability to talk about what people do. I'm a huge fan, Marc. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I think you got it all dialed in.
Well, thank you. I appreciate those kind words, Jeremy. Thank you for what you guys do out there. And I think we're going to be at the NARPM National Convention together upcoming here in another month or so. So we'll have to get together and we can do round two, maybe.
Do it, and the wine's on us. Thank you, guys.
Then,
all right,
then you're going to win that round then.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So thank you, guys. We're going to wrap up. We're just going to do the event calendar, which will include exactly what Marc just said. But first, a quick word from our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Strategic PM, the magazine for property management entrepreneurs and executives. If you go online to strategicpm.com today, you're going to find an entire website full of content written about your industry and by your peers. And it's completely free to sign up. Just go ahead and click on the create a free account right in the upper right-hand corner. When you click on that, not only can you create a digital account, but you can actually add your mailing address, and we will send you a free 1-year subscription of the print magazine, which will be showing up in your offices every single quarter. So if you take a look inside the magazine, what you're going to see is that we are focused on growth. We've got 5 pillars of Strategic PM: vision, strategy, culture, marketing, and experience. You're going to be seeing some great high-class content from some of the best thought leaders in the industry talking about the matters that matter the most to your business. So sign up for free today at strategicpm.com and look for the magazine in your office. Thanks to Marc and Jen. That was amazing. I had such a good time. The comments are outrageous. Absolutely appreciated. Let's just go through the event calendar and then we'll sign off because we got some great events that we can see you at. Next week, a week from today, the exact same time spot, September 12th at 3 p.m., we are virtually having a webinar. In fact, Marc actually got to see this. It was Jen and I speaking at Cal NARPM. We talked about 3 lessons that we've learned after hiring 300 business development managers. So we're going to drop in the link below. We'd love for you to sign up. It is completely free this time. We'd love for you to be there. If you've been to previous events and you decided not to hire a BDM, we want to do this again because we're moving into the holidays, and we know that now is the time to be hiring, because if you start hiring after Thanksgiving, right as the holidays happen, yes, it can still work, but it gets a little crowded. So that's why we are bringing this back, and we want you guys to know about it. And back in person, September 16th to 18th, right around the corner, we're doing Texas Style NARPM Conference in Austin. I won't be at this one, unfortunately, just too many other events. I've got an EO event that I'm going to, but I've heard year after year, this is one of the best ones. So hope you guys go there. As you saw the previous episode, September 18th to 20th, Property Meld is having their maintenance summit in Rapid City, South Dakota. So we had the team on the call. We talked all about it. I am so bummed that we can't make this one because I think it's going to be amazing. In October, we've got the BizDev seminar by BizDev Mastermind, which, yes, that's one of our big competitors, but we love the guys and I think they're going to do great things. So if you're in Texas or going to be in San Antonio, we'd love for you guys to attend that event. I believe they still have some seats. So that is on October 8th, the BizDev seminar by BizDev Mastermind. Moving after the holidays, after Thanksgiving at least, into December, I keep calling this the South by Southwest of property management. We are taking over Austin. So the first week of Austin, we are all going to be there. So December 3rd to 5th, we've got Lead Simple University. Their event is bigger than ever. They've moved into a new, bigger location. We do have a joint event ticket for December 3rd to 5th at Lead Simple University. And the next event on Friday, which is RentScale's Sales Mastery in Austin, Texas. So if you want to come to both, you can go to Lead Simple University and RentScale Sales Mastery, or you can just come to RentScale Sales Mastery or Lead Simple University. It's both in Austin. We're blocks away. Lead Simple University has moved on to a bigger location, just like RentScale Sales Mastery did. We are actually in the location that Lead Simple was in last year. And I was just getting a bunch of bills and things from Jennifer today, and we are spending a fortune on this event because it's going to be amazing. So we capped out at 75 people last year and we were out of space. We had to close off tickets. This year we can host up to 150 people, and we hope to see you guys there. So takeaways are, hope you guys join the webinar next week, and I hope you guys sign up for Lead Simple University and RentScale Sales Mastery. That's it for this week. Thanks for joining and learning about the latest tips and trends from the residential property managers in North America. Please be sure to join us every time so that you don't miss your competitive advantage. Check out all the latest going-ons in property management and get details and show notes about today's show and guests. Just head over to strategicpm.com. That's strategicpm.com. And please email our team at biz@rentscale.com if you need anything from us. And that is what's happening this week in PM.